Okay, so the next thing I have on here is Tony's throw, which was incomplete. Um, that play call was crazy. I've never seen that before. Where it was like a jet a jet sweep, and then the whole defense just bid on it because everybody's got binoculars on Malachi Tony, obviously, and then he's got a receiver who's, or actually, it was a running back out of the backfield who was wide open, Pringle, and I would have completed that pass. Which was crazy. Like, just lob it up in the air. He threw it a little too far. But he was wide open. So that was a cool play call. I've talked to y'all before about how I'm a Jayhawk fan. And um, Bill Self, the Jayhawk basketball coach, he is well known for calling timeouts and drawing up a play. And once they get back on the court, the Jayhawks will inevitably have somebody wide open under the goal for a layup. Like, he does it 3 or 4 times every game. And I remember after we lost to SMU, I got on here and I was saying, I need OC Dimples to be able to call these 6 point plays, as I call them, where it's like, it doesn't matter who's on the field. It doesn't matter what offense we got out here. It doesn't matter what kind of defense you got. This play is so cleverly drawn up that it's going to score 6 points every time, just about. And he been pulling them things out of his bag like crazy lately. I think he's just trying to show us, like, I'm no idiot. Like, I've got these kind of plays. Like, it's pretty obvious he's trying to show us something. But this play that he drew up from Malachi Tony, doing the sweep and then passing the ball to the running back out of the backfield, that was pretty clever. I like that play. It didn't score this time just because Malachi had a defender in his face as soon as he touched the ball. So I can understand how he overthrew it. It makes sense. But clever play, though. Let's give him credit for that. I know a lot of folks be hating, not hating. A lot of folks are irritated with Carson Beck. A lot of folks are irritated with Keelan Marion. And a lot of folks are mad at OC Dimples. But when they do something well, let's make sure we tell them, like, yeah, I respect that. And I totally respect that play call and a lot of other play calls that he's made these last few weeks. Okay. The next thing I have on here is at 3:45 in the third quarter. The commentator made a comment that I thought was pretty funny, actually. He said, some places that might be called a hold, maybe not against the University of Miami this year. I thought that was pretty significant. The reason being is because I grew up, my dad was a basketball coach. I was always taught to never complain about the coaches. You just take care of you take care of what's on the field and let the refs and the coaches, they can all take care of the rest of it. Don't leave the game up to the refs. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I was taught. But I can't lie, man. Sometimes I watch these games and I'm like, for real, y'all gonna call that? Like, would you have called that against somebody else? I really do feel like that sometimes. It's almost impossible to not have that creep into the back of your mind when stuff like Marquise Lightfoot gets that 15-yard penalty roughing the passer against SMU. It's like, for real? Like. So I don't know, man. It's kind of it's some weird happenings that be going on, some strange happenings. And when the commentator makes a comment, because he was showing somebody was getting held in that play. I think it might have been Mesidor was being held. And he actually said, some places that might be called a hold, but maybe not for the Miami Hurricanes this year. And I'm like, you see what's going on, G. Like, you see that this is some crazy stuff that's been going on. On that exact same play, I was screaming at the TV because Bane was held. Bane went right around him. So the dude wrapped his arm around his waist, like literally wrapped his arm around his waist, like, please come back. Did one of those moves. I didn't even see what happened on the other side of the field. So both of our defensive ends got held on the exact same play. And it wasn't just like, oh yeah, he might have hooked him a little bit as he went past. It was a actual grab. So I'm like, that is kind of crazy. The fact that the analysts noticed it too, it's nuts. I don't know what to tell you about that, man. The next thing I have is Carson Beck actually runs for a first down. And he didn't look like he was stuck in one of those dreams where you can't run. You ever been in one of them dreams before? where the monster chasing you, you just like can't lift your feet up. That's how he looked against SMU in the games before that. But this game, he looked like he was pretty quick. I was really glad to see that. He ran for a first down. Beautiful thing to see. If Carson Beck can consistently run for those 3rd and 4, 3rd and 6 when we get in trouble, he just rounds up there and gets those first downs. If he can do that, that changes us to a totally different team. We're not asking him to be, uh, Usain Bolt. Not asking him to do anything stupid like that. But if you could just go and get them 3rd and 5s every now and again when everything breaks down around you, that would be a wonderful thing. And it would change a whole lot of things for us. If they would have to start running a QB spy every now and again on 3rd down, instead of dropping back 7 defenders into pass coverage, or you know what I'm saying, instead of sitting back 7 into coverage, they're dropping back 6 with 1 defender just sitting there watching you. That's a huge benefit. So if he can start doing that consistently, that would be good. That would be great for us. 4th quarter, Joshua Moore, deep completion with an exclamation point. Joshua Moore looks really good to me, man. He seems like if he sticks around, he looks like he's going to be an exceptional player for us. Maybe not as good as Jeremiah Smith, but a Jeremiah Smith type player, because he's not just fast. He's not just athletic. He's not just shifty, but he's also real big too, so he might be able to do something pretty major for us in the near future. Next thing I have, 4th quarter, Pringle, 15-yard run. And then I put freshman class, all caps. This freshman class is showing out, y'all. Like on the defensive end, we had freshmen that were showing out. We've got Pringle, who looked exceptional in this game. This freshman class looks like they might go and do something pretty crazy their junior year. Never know, man, but they look pretty good so far. Got the quarterback that just came in, too. We got a quarterback on the field for the first time this year, which was nice. Okay, Malachi Tony touchdown. And then I put, Beck is seeing things. This is as good as I've seen Carson Beck see the field since I don't know when. I talked about I guess it was against Syracuse. I was saying I wanted Carson Beck to stay in the game towards the end because I want him to get like some nice completions and get his confidence level back where it needed to be. And that's exactly what they did in this game. They kept him in long enough for him to get a bunch of completions so he can see the field all over the place, throw it deep on the left, then throw it deep on the right, then throw a screen pass here. Just get the defense so off balance that almost everything is open. And that's kind of what it looked like towards the end of the game. Carson Beck was seeing the field perfectly. Love to see it. Love to see it. Okay. Next thing I have on here, 4th quarter, Mesidor, strip sack. Mesidor is impressive, y'all. I don't know what he's going to do in the NFL. I have no idea. But he is exceptionally impressive. I don't think that he's got the natural athletic, God-given abilities that Ruben Bain has. But he is almost as game-wrecking as Ruben Bain is. And then he plays on the inside, he plays on the outside, plays on the left, plays on the right. Mesidor is a problem. I'm glad to see that he's jumped up these boards as much as he possibly have. I was a little concerned at the beginning of the year, and I talked about it. I was afraid that he might be getting overshadowed by Ruben Bain. So I'm glad that he's not. That's a good thing to see. Okay. The next thing I have right here towards the end, y'all. So 4th quarter, Naikar had a couple of catches. That was really cool to see. He looked really good. Broke a tackle, ran down the sideline, looked really good. And this is part of why I consistently talk about why it's so important to not just bring people in from the transfer portal, but building the program from the inside out. That's why this is important. Like instead of having to rebuild, you just reload. You just bring in the next person. I've played against teams like this before where I'm like, oh, starting point guard's out. And the backup point guard is damn near as good as the first dude. He's like, dang, like no breaks. You know what I'm saying? So it's really cool to be able to see that because I was shook when I found out Keontae Scott wasn't playing. I was like, oh man. But then his backup comes in and he looks not as good as him, but he looked pretty good. Like he played really well and he was a freshman. It's like, dang, so that's cool to see. It's cool because I'm telling you right now, well, I've actually told you already. I think it was the second game of the season when I saw Florida State play. I said, Florida State, they're in a bad spot. Mainly because if any of these transfers get hurt, they have nobody to come in and take their place. Nobody. We saw that when Travis Jordan got hurt. Was it Jordan Travis? When never trust a guy with two first names, by the way. Never. Anyway, when Jordan Travis got hurt, they brought in somebody off the sideline. He was trash. And that happens every year for Florida State. If their left tackle gets hurt, they have no left tackles to put in the game. They're just done. Everything that Florida State has is all surface level. Everything looks good on surface. But once you look under the surface, it's like, oh yeah, y'all got nothing in the cupboards at all. Thankfully, Miami is not in that situation. And that's part of why I've continued to support Mario Cristobal, because he understands, built the team through, I almost said the draft, build the team through high school recruiting, and then you want to supplement that with transfers. He understands that. If he has an opportunity to upgrade, he's like, okay, I'll take this transfer in. But if he's already got players who are freshmen, sophomore, and juniors who are exceptional at what they do. So he's just fine, just comfortable playing those guys. So I love to see that, man. I love to see it. I'm going through the defensive players right now. Bryce Fitzgerald, man. Bryce Fitzgerald looked really good today. He looked real good today. That was cool to see. What else is there to talk? Let me look at my notes. I'm right here towards the end of them, actually. Fourth quarter, 5 minutes. 5 minutes left in the game, y'all. Louisville had their first play on the Miami side of the 50. Like, what? That is crazy. First play on the other side of the 50 happened with 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter. What can you say about that? You know what I'm saying? Like, what can you say about that? Exceptional defensive play. And then the last note that I have on here is no more backups. Y'all have seen Saban on the sideline going crazy when his team was up 50-6. My dad was the exact same way. We'd be blowing teams out up 35 points, and he'd be in my face screaming at me because I gave up the baseline or something. That's how my dad coached. That's all that I know. He would also have this mindset of, if we're about 25 points, I will put the backups in if the backups earned that playing time. And if they did earn the playing time throughout the week, I'm going to put you in. But if you are letting them score on you, I'm taking y'all right back out. And that's what these backups have done in this game and last game. I don't know, a lot of y'all said, man, they're just not as good as the first team. Cool, that's fine, but they are doing all kinds of stuff that's discipline-based that they cannot be doing. If you're not as skilled, like, put me out there. If you put me on that field, I'm telling you, you would instantly look out there and be like, who is that guy? Like, who is that frame? Like, who is that skinny dude? He looks terrible. Instantly notice me, because I would be slower than everybody, weaker than everybody, all the above. But if my coach tells me, make sure you get outside leverage and do not let this running back get outside of you, I promise you that running back is not getting outside of me. Like, I would do everything I can to make sure I do not let him get outside of me. So then it would be a situation of, yeah, he definitely got the discipline he needs. He just doesn't have the skill. When it comes to these backup players who are coming in, they have a problem with both. They don't have the skill, but they're also not showing the discipline level that we got to see. They are missing reads. They're doing all kinds of stuff like that. So I'm like, if they're not going to play to a certain standard, then you can't put them in the game. Take them out or put them in, but once they do that, pull them right back out. Hey, first team, get back in there. I have seen Saban do that before. Hey, y'all done. First team, get back in there. Easy. Like, we watched the rugby player from Syracuse come into the game and walk that ball right up the field and get a touchdown. He walked it right up the field for a touchdown. Even though they couldn't do anything, the starter couldn't do anything the entire game. Then the backup comes in. Look like Ole Miss is in a tough game against Florida. Anyway, the backup comes in, who used to play rugby or something. I don't know what the hell he used to play. He used to play something. Lacrosse, I think it was. He comes in, and he just walks the ball right up the field and scores a touchdown. Like, come on, man. Like that's a little irritating to me. So the reason why I'm so focused on that this year is because we're in a situation where we've got to look good. We've got to do this beauty pageantry thing. 41-0 looks like total domination, which I think this game was if you just watched it. It looked like total domination to me. 41-0 looks much better than 41-7. I think all of y'all would agree to that. So that's what I'm saying. Like, when you put these backup players in, if they looking trash and they letting the other team just walk up and down the field and score touchdowns and whatnot, don't put them back in the game. Like, they need to earn that playing time. Even though the game is out of hand and you want to save your starters and you don't want the starters to get hurt, I would tell my second players or my bench players, whatever you want to call them, second string, if any of my first string players get hurt, it's y'all's fault. Because every time I put y'all out there, y'all make us look like trash. So if you want to stay on the field, act like you want to stay on the field. It's that simple. I've seen Saban do it. I was coached that way growing up. I think we need to have that type of mindset at Miami too. The standard has to be the standard. It does not matter who's on the field. Everybody who goes out there has to know their reads. They got to know who they're covering. They got to know what leverage they have. If they can't do that, then they cannot be on the field, period. And it looks like the standard significantly drops when our backups get on the field, and that just can't be. One of the main reasons why that can't be is because oftentimes the backups who come in this year, those are the starters for next year. So if they getting killed and doing dumb stuff this year as the backups when they're up 41-0, that same mindset could be reflected next year when they start. It doesn't matter what I do, I'm going to get the start anyway. Nah, brother. If the game is 41-0, you come in as a backup and you let your man do the exact thing that we told you not to do, you're coming out. I don't care. We're going to put the third string in there. You're not going to continue playing. And that's what I've seen. You can probably hear like the fact that I am a coach's son, or the fact that I run businesses all day, every day. The standard has to be the standard, man. It doesn't matter who's out there. They represent you when you're out there. It is what it is. So that's all that I got for the notes. I thought that the Hurricanes played exceptionally well this game. I was so happy the way they played. There's a lot of people who get annoyed with me because they say I'm so negative. I'm negative because I've always believed that the Hurricanes team that we saw today was somewhere buried in the team that we saw playing against SMU. It was somewhere buried in the team that we saw beat Florida. The team that we saw today would have killed Florida. They were all over the place. You know what I'm saying? Like, so if better can be achieved, then it's the coach's job or it's the fans' job to make it known that we've got to pull that out of them one way or another. And to me, it looks like it can be achieved, especially when you look at what they did today. They've got to play with that kind of standard. They got to play with that kind of energy. They got to call those types of plays where they're super aggressive and they're not scared of making a mistake, which I totally understand why they were doing that. But yeah, man, I will continue complaining if they continue doing dumb stuff. But when they play well and they do things as we believe they should and could do, we got to pat them on the back and say, good job. And that's all that I can say to the Hurricanes today. Carson Beck was 21 for 27, 291 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions. That's the Carson Beck that we need. We need that from him. He played very well today, even though there's plenty of things to critique. Overall, he played a very good game. Look at the running backs. Gerard Pringle was over 100 yards today. Excuse me. He was over 100 yards today. So I'm feeling good, man. Feeling good. Feeling great. Gonna continue moving up this thing. I'm looking at the scores now. Georgia is barely beating Texas. We need Texas to lose, y'all. And we really need BYU to take an L tonight, too. That would help. Ole Miss losing. They're number 7. Ole Miss has, how many losses does Ole Miss have? Ole Miss has 1 loss, so that would give them their 2nd loss. A 2-loss SEC school, they're basically in. So they would have to lose that 3rd game. So let's say if Ole Miss ends up losing this game, which I'm going to guess they probably will end up losing this game. Good for Lane Kiffin because he annoys the hell out of me. But anyway, if Ole Miss ends up losing this game, the situation that we'll have is we'll have has Georgia lost one time too, right? I've told y'all before. Yeah, Georgia lost once. I've told y'all before. I don't believe that a 3-loss SEC school is going to get in this year. I don't believe so. So, what was that score? If Georgia loses tonight, that's going to say Oklahoma has 2 losses, Georgia has 2 losses, Texas has 2 losses, and if Ole Miss lose, like I think they're about to, Ole Miss would have 2 losses. So basically, any of those teams lose another game, they're out. So I'll just say that. That wouldn't be a terrible thing. It'd be kind of like a Russian roulette situation for the SEC. Whoever loses that next game, you're out. All right. That's all that I got for y'all, man. Hurricanes looked really good. Beautiful thing to see. Now we just got to continue winning and continue winning big. We play Virginia Tech next, correct? I think we played Virginia Tech next. Yeah, Virginia Tech. And then we play Pitt. Pitt better lay down against us, too, the same way they laid down against Notre Dame. They better not come out there with 3 running backs in the backfield or 3 quarterbacks in the backfield or none of that weird stuff like Louisville did. Them trash fools from Louisville. I told y'all what they were going to do. People kept saying, Brom is such an excellent coach. He's so good. He's so good. I wish we had Brom. And I said, that fool ain't going to do nothing but trick it off the next couple of weeks. He going to lose a couple more games. That's what he does. He gets up for these really good teams. If it's a top 5 team, he going to blow his load by calling every good play he's got. He going to call all of them this game. He going to have nothing left the next game. And that's what he's done. So there's your Louisville Cardinals. They trash. But anyway, they got the same amount of losses. Well, they got, 3 losses now? But yeah. Anyway, let me go ahead and get off here, y'all. Take care. Well, please do like the video. Subscribe to the channel. Every like, every subscription, we really do appreciate it. It helps me take care of my family even better. So I appreciate y'all's support. Georgia's up 21-10. So that looks all right for me. And then look at the other scores real quick. Anything else change? Nope. All right, we'll go ahead and get off, y'all. Take care. God bless. Peace.